Once more into the room of solid rock we go. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Hamage here, and into the void or something. Very gripping and telling to welcome you guys all in. But now we're just going to a big rectangular room in the bottom of a mountain or something. We may not technically be in the mountains anymore, are we? We're in the taiga. Which, if we went straight upstairs, maybe we could get some strays. We still need that mob type. As we kick things off here, let me just dive right into the pick work because that's why we're here, as we all know. And those of us who know, right? That's exactly what I wanted to just introduce things for folks who may have missed an episode or two, or depending on what I end up putting in the description. We are working on setting up for our Wither fight. We're going to fight him in this big old room here. But Withers are kind of that party guest that well, they're not the best behaved. Kind of make a mess of stuff. Really good at trashing the place. A little bit like a hair metal band from the 80s going to a hotel, right? TVs in the swimming pool and, pizza boxes and all their trash all over the place, pictures off the walls. Who knows what all they got up to, but I have a feeling our Wither friend, when we send him his invitation, is going to be running along the same lines there. And so we're going to kind of make a space to accommodate him. Or if he, forgets his manners a bit, we can mitigate the damage a little bit, right? It's like the kids table, right? Or if you're having a birthday party for a bunch of 4-year-olds or something like that, you're not going to put them at the fancy dining table. Maybe have those kids in the kitchen or outside if it's nice, have a picnic. That way, when the inevitable spills happen, they aren't a big deal. You just hose off the patio when you're done, or mop the kitchen a bit. But yeah, you're not having to steam clean the fine Persian carpets or get gum off the underside of Nana's antique table, right? Those things don't happen. Well, our Wither buddy is kind of in that same category, and yeah, get a little tantrumy too. So this will be a good spot, just to let him feel welcome and well equipped for the shared experience. And when we've wrapped up with him, then we'll be really well set for our beacon and all the advancements that go along there. I'm just talking off the top of my head. I haven't even looked. We had mentioned looking. In fact, you know what? I know we said no sidetracks, right? But quick little look won't hurt. So where do we stand? We need to do the gas build and all that. That will come in good time. We haven't even found our lodestone yet. The subspace bubble, it'll come pretty quick when it does. So this is where we need to go. Summon the Wither, construct and place a beacon, and then there's a third one that will pop here that will be a fully charged beacon. So all three of these we can kind of knock out in quick succession, and then we've got a few more that are just kind of one-off and oddballs. But recently, which are the ones that we got? Maybe an adventure. We had, they're all pretty recent. We still need a parrot. We don't have our villager. I mean, I guess I could have just knocked this one out at the same time. I had the charge thing and just, you know, taken a shot at a villager, but those are Fred's buddies. We don't want to do that. Bullseye. Monsters. The two remaining there, I believe, are the Wither and the Stray. So, speaking of the taiga, no, not the taiga. What do we need? The is it tundra or snowy? I don't know. You guys know we need the wintry biomes to get strays. Hopefully, we'll not need to. Oh my goodness! Just kind of looked up and like the blinds and around the shades is kind of glowing. The sun's hitting. I think that was the bright light triggered you on there. Walk on, powder snow. Without sinking in it. Gotta love the powder snow. That one we have to set up and wait for a little bit. That's another good one. And then we got our two mushroom biomes left to discover. So we're making good progress. I think these getting these three will be a good succession. And we're getting to some of the good ones and some of just the ones that we need to knock out. We did get the tactical fishing. We still need an axolotl, and this one, the last time, we didn't really have to try it too much. He's just kind of there in a ravine. But at some point when we're swimming in the ocean and stuff, we'll just dive down deep and putz around until we get these couple. So it'll be fun. Lots of foods left to do, lots of breeding left to do. Oh, cats too. Lots of cats. But these were the other two that we got wax on and off. So we got those two. We got the fish in the bucket. And we got the, where'd it go? Here? We'll spend under adventure. We just didn't go, here, right here. Surge protector was the other one we got. All right, well, that took longer than we needed it to. Back on task and target here, right? Another torch. Was this where these got out of sync? They just always were. Whatever. These are all going to be temporary up here anyway, and I think eventually we'll find our way pretty easily. Kind of like the cubes here. I guess it's not really a cube, it's just a 3x3 surface. Each time we go in through, I guess we get a cube. But now we do need to kind of keep an eye on the pick, but I don't want to short using it either. Kind of get it down a ways in the durability. We got a long way, much less than when it was brand new, but pretty good ways left to use on it. Oh, still just nothing. Come on. Where's our light? There we go. And there. Right. So at least we're coordinated on one of these sides. Lots of activity up above us, I think, but we're gonna try to just keep that fairly well insulated, where the weather's not trying to go hang out with those people and staying in the party room, right? The wither Weatherproofed party room. Yeah, that's what we'll think of it as affectionately as we consider its behavior. We're getting there. So I don't remember how big our space was in the previous world. If anybody remembers, or I think we're much bigger. Not hugely bigger, but I'm kind of guessing we were about this size in the original. And as you can see, we're kind of doubling it. I guess a couple reasons to do that in my mind. The first is that I think it'll make for a little bit better of a fight, actually. Like the last one just kind of went funky. But if we're strength potioned up, we've got a totem in case everything goes horribly wrong. We've got a golden apple in case things start to go wrong, an enchanted golden apple. So we can prepare pretty well. But the last one, the space was there. He was kind of like right up on us, and then he was sitting above our heads. And I'd like to have a bit of room where we can maneuver and hopefully give him so many targets that we'll have bunches and bunches and bunches of wither roses by the time we're done here. That's the goal anyway. We'll see how that all plays out, but yeah, I'd kind of like to keep keep things open for me to move around, not have to cower too much, and see how it all plays out. Just be fun to try. And yeah, I get it. It's a bunch of time to prep that up, but that part doesn't bother me at all. Okay, now we've neglected a couple of our torches here. I think we had one there. Nope, there. And then there. 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 I don't think that's going to be a big deal. So there's halfway. Like I said, we may do one more pass before we actually put up the obsidian. I really got pretty full there, didn't it? Okay, now might as well switch the shovel. The shovel? It's because I accidentally grabbed the shovel. The pick. Ah! We're going to get a few chances to make this right. That really sounded like it was right on top of me, but I don't think we've broken any holes through the ceiling yet. Knowing that we do have an abandoned mine shaft here, I would guess that we've moved beyond it, but y'all know from the one that we've just been working in recently, they can stretch on quite a ways. All right, there, there, and there. All right. Mm, I guess the same system that's worked already for us wouldn't be the worst. But maybe we go this side this time. Huh? Something different, right? It'll be a longer haul, but gotta break all the bricks, all the blocks, one way or another. It's very odd how these all seem to get so off cycle. I don't quite know how to manage that. RL, it's all been the same day, so I did it just a couple hours ago. But I don't know how we goofed it up. Not that it matters too terribly much. Ooh, there's some gravel finally. Franny's gonna be so excited. Alright. Here. Oh, I'm crouching. It wouldn't be the most tragic thing in the world. Should wreck our inventory. But greatly accelerate our clearing. Alright, where was the next torch? There. And of course, every quick gravel section gets balanced out by a few deep slates. Although I gotta say, we've been really lucky so far. There has not been too terribly much. Yeah, let's go back along this side if we can, and then we'll jump down. I'd like to get those couple pieces of flint if I can, but where the gravel had already exposed a good part of this, should be fast enough. Got the torches here. And of course, by the time we get this done, we'll probably be full pockets and unable to pick them up. That would be my luck. Although, we'd have to have full stacks. I don't think there's that much down in that little channel. Alright. Pick up here first. We got the flint. That's the important bit. And anything else along here? Oh, yeah, we're moving much faster than the despawn. All the various goodies. Should we put flint in amongst the goodies? Why not, right? And then we're on to here. Yeah, I don't know now. Let's go all the way around. Give ourselves a little walkway. Literally, it was such a mess of an order of torches. Who knows what's going on? But these, at least, we shouldn't even really have to worry about. It's kind of wild. I don't hear the lava, but somebody just burned. Hopefully, we don't have to deal with lava dripping down on us. That would be unfortunate. Oh, there's lava. It's kind of the worst when you look over to that left side and know how much more you have to go. Back to the spiders. Definitely seems like they're relying, because we're coming up on the staircase and we were hearing the spiders so much then that seems pretty consistent. This is definitely going to be one of those days where we're going to need a extra long no screens eye break tonight. This afternoon, evening. It's still a little bit light out. Get out in nature. just constantly moving the pick around and looking at all these blocks. Now, tomorrow or whenever we go after Obsidian, that's almost worse. Although I kind of have a plan to not have to worry too much about that one. It won't involve nearly as much moving around or variation of the patterns or anything like that, but will should keep us fairly safe from Enderman contact and be about as efficient as we can be mining. How's everybody doing out there? As I understand it, most schools, some businesses are shut down. It's it's crazy how we have a day that is so kind of reimagined in my lifetime, and I guess I've talked about it some more back when we were doing our earlier worlds, kind of explorer themed and all that kind of stuff. I talked about a little bit of the bias and all that kind of stuff that we as Americans, I say we, if you are or aren't, welcome. I hope you enjoy, but we tend to focus quite a bit on expecting or kind of placing our heroes of any age in our own current viewpoint. We like to shape folks, and we've seen a lot of that in the last few years, right? Where people that were venerated in different ages or eras. It's tough to call anything in the United States history an age. We haven't been around that long, but we certainly, people's mindsets and views have changed quite a bit over the years. And so, a day that is now Indigenous Peoples Day used to be Columbus Day. Used to celebrate Christopher Columbus, and now it's, you're almost vilified if you do anything but scorn the guy. And yes, absolutely, he was exploitive. Even among his contemporaries, there were people that wrote fairly scathing on some of the activities that he did, and he didn't seem to be a particularly fair dealing business partner, I guess. But he also had a lot of apparently obstacles and things he had to push through, and we love to vilify our own successful business people in our modern culture. Look at the Twitter cancel culture, all that kind of stuff that goes on these days. We love to go after people that are success. America loves a winner until we can tear them down. We love to marvel at the from football, Tom Brady and the Patriots, and all the success that they had along the way. But if you ask most people, when I'd go to Super Bowl parties and stuff like that with people who were fans of different teams on their own side, all, were like, oh yeah, we, in those late Super Bowls, we want to see the Patriots lose. We want to see Tom Brady lose, while acknowledging that they had a run of just unimaginable talent and excellence. And not being a Patriots fan myself, it kind of hurts to say it, but acknowledging that Tom Brady is probably the greatest of all times. By whatever measure you want to look at it, he's got the numbers and the rings and everything else to say, yeah, I'm the guy. And that's amazing. But yeah, we love to line up and go, all right, well, let's knock them down a peg, right? That it's time for you to lose. We appreciate that you're good and great, but who's the next one coming along, and what are they doing? And I don't mean to trivialize the reasons why people have, we no longer call it Columbus Day or celebrate him. There was a lot of factors back in the day that were not considered and weren't a big deal. But in his time, and in the time of, maybe our grandparents more than our parents, but even them, now we want to kind of reimagine that. And I think, for younger generation, people who go, oh yeah, we can't even talk about Christopher Columbus. I think there needs to be a part that, just as we kind of have this mythos around pilgrims having the first Thanksgiving. Most of that is not historically accurate either, but we celebrate that. It's kind of our heritage. It's like in European cultural backgrounds, there are lots of cultural myths or stories or anecdotes and things like that, and they do get spun into either holidays or festivals or reasons to party. They're kind of silly, and in some ways, it's weird that we as Americans, who are so open and willing to critique ourselves, we don't have a very good sense of humor or ability to laugh at those kind of things, because somebody is going to get offended. And I'm saying all this having just recently watched the last of the Dave Chappelle Netflix series, and of all the comedians, there's people that of every racial and gender group. It doesn't matter what. He'll go after him for comedy, and he's really good at it. And a lot of folks consider him the best of all time when it comes to it. He even jokes about that. But he kind of made it a key element of his act to take on that whole oversensitive thing. Go like, I'm gonna go down the list. I'm gonna get you all. Nobody's safe, and he certainly does. But inevitably, there are people that won't take that as a joke. They will get absolutely upset and demand, that he be fired or whatever, and that's kind of part of the joke. This was the end of his series with Netflix. He'd been pre-contracted to do a number of shows, and he's kind of like, yeah, this is it. This is the conclusion, so you guys can say what you want. I don't care. I'm not gonna, Netflix doesn't have to deal with me anymore, and neither do you. But it, suddenly, as we go along, it's like, oh well, we're so much superior to our past, or to any past, that therefore we must go through it and discredit. And I know a lot of folks might parents' age, and my grandparents are no longer around, but they're like, what happened when I was a kid? That was something we celebrated, and yet we understood. Guess what, guys? The knowledge that the Vikings were in Newfoundland, when you found that out potentially after learning about Christopher Columbus, I don't know how they approach that in elementary school and all that, but everybody gets that. It's kind of like Santa. Shh, what? Now, it's a little bit of a rite of passage to understand that, yeah, when Christopher Columbus went sailing the ocean blue or whatever, he was not doing this same discovery or massive shift of human comprehension. The idea that everybody thought the world was flat and ships would sail right off the edge just wasn't reality. It's the same as when PR specialists or politicians get together and kind of change the narrative from election cycle to election cycle, right? Like, oh, well, this is the issue now. This is what we've always cared about. Well, 4 years ago, you were talking about completely other stuff. Kind of the same deal. I don't know. I'm ranting, but to me, Columbus Day was never that big a deal. I'm not. I think it's Italians. It was kind of like Italian Pride Day in New York City and back east, the Columbus Day parade and all that kind of stuff. But growing up in the Midwest, it was just kind of. I think in school we got it off. I've never had it off work. I don't work for the government or anything like that, so it's never been a holiday that where businesses shut down. I think markets were open today and all that, but of course the post office was shut. And now it's not Columbus Day anymore. It's Indigenous Peoples Day. And to my Indigenous friends and people, congratulations, you got yourselves a day. I don't know. I don't know, and I'm not, so I can't say that, but say with any certainty. But like, if somebody was like, "Oh yeah, you're different, so you get a holiday just because we've decided you deserve one," nah, then I feel like I'm being pandered to. And again, I can't speak. I'm not Native. I don't, as far as I know, I don't have any Native American blood in me. But I am the immigrant's son, so I am I guess, first generation American. Had some dual citizenship and all that, so I can understand different backgrounds and being a part of a different culture, having that and celebrating my parts of it. But I also am a historian, and I understand that Native Americans have their own. There isn't just a native culture, right? So you can't say, a federal holiday for Native Americans is built around a Lakota holiday or something. It just doesn't work. And that's to me what it's like. All right, we're reaching out to be PC at an extent we don't. I don't know. Do we need to? Has that changed anything? Has it helped? When I was a kid, were huge poverty concerns on reservations, and I think by and large, casinos came and made a big difference on that. But now I have to wonder, in my lifetime and growing up in the Midwest, kind of about the time I was in like junior high and high school, Indian casinos. I don't know if you're allowed to call them Indian casinos anymore, but that was what they were. Oh yeah, we're going down to the Indian casino, and they blew up. There was nothing like that when I was a little kid, and all of a sudden they were everywhere. At least in my area. I don't know the exact timeline, but I know that's continued. But lo and behold, as soon as Native Americans are finding this phenomenal revenue stream, because people like to gamble, and if you don't have to go to Vegas or somewhere to do it, but you can still go play some blackjack or some slots or whatever, and do it close to home. That's a phenomenal revenue source. And all of a sudden, I remember that, people were coming up and all of a sudden wanting to prove native heritage. Um, and then, like, the tribes were kind of ill prepared for that. They were like, what? For so long, people had just kind of been like walking away from their heritage and abandoning it. And now we're finding that people are false, because they wanted their hands on the money, right? Like, oh yeah, if you're a member of this nation or tribe, you get uh your percentage of the take. And lo and behold, and this is where the idea of, oh yeah, well, we need to give them a holiday, it's like, oh yeah, because in the past we so mistreated natives. And yeah, you read the language of those days, it's offensive to our tastes and our senses. um, you go, oh yeah, of course, uh, Europeans were expanding into the space that had once been theirs. How different is that now from the way a lot of people portray immigration in the United States? Oh, they're coming into our land. This is ours. No, it's how human populations work. We settle into and fill spaces. So let's check our time here. Um, I think when we're going back to a time that was what uh, 450 years ago, maybe not quite. I don't know. It And then ascribing our values to it and going, oh yeah, this guy was awful. Well, he wasn't acting in a vacuum either. That was the sense of the world, and there wasn't a sense that, oh, we shouldn't go, or anything like that. It was just, that was the era of the world. And um, it definitely happened. And it's human nature to explore and locate new sources of food and materials and all that kind of stuff. That's how natives initially arrived here, crossing the Bering Land Bridge. They happened to do it thousands of years ago. They're tens of thousands of years ago, but they were in constant conflict with one another before anybody else got here for those same resources and values. So, or items of value, not values, um, in any kind of a I don't know, moral sense, whatever. Um, but so I think when we now celebrate Indigenous Peoples Day in place of Columbus Day, I think it's a good chance for all of us to look back and go, well, when we follow the money, we're not backing up. Oh, yeah, you got a holiday, and oh yeah, we've changed some sports teams' names and all that. But those are kind of lip service, because if you look at following the money and where our values really lie when they're backed up with that, um, massive parts of the country are now legalizing sports betting. And many places have um, found ways to say, we're going to open up casinos that will cut into the revenue. There's all these little exemptions that, um, if we as a people want to be as good as we like to pat ourselves on the back and feel about celebrating our native heritage, and I don't know, maybe this is wrong. I know a lot of people want to be exclusive, but I celebrate all the heritages and kind of the melting pot that we have here. We're blessed to have so many different cultures that all fold into our American culture. So um, I'm delighted uh, to have a chance in any time that school kids, or it's a reason, it's a teaching aid for teachers to teach about the histories of different people in the country. But before we start clapping ourselves on the back. Think about the sports betting commercials that we now get flooded with on um, every broadcast, and think about whether your particular state has opened up to like a Mega Millions lottery or Powerball or some of those. And don't don't for a moment think that that isn't politically endorsed, because right, you got to pass the laws, and they're usually giving benefits to states, again, United States, and in direct competition to other sovereign nations that had that as a revenue system a source for themselves, and had it taken, effectively competed away. So that's the piece that kind of gets me. I hope. I guess I'm like, well, what are we doing with Indigenous Peoples Day if not educating ourselves and kind of looking at, how can we make life better for all people? And if particularly isolated reservation communities, I'm thinking South Dakota. I spent time as a kid on the Pine Ridge uh, reservation, which is in, it's kind of near the Black Hills. I think I've talked about it before. It was right around the time that Dances with Wolves came out. And at that time, we were kind of doing like a summer camp for young kids when it was in the middle of summer and there wasn't preschool or whatever. So, is a lot of those kind of things that now are more provided year round. I think like now school lunches and all that are provided year round for families that need that assistance. But we were basically, we were like high school kids, and arts and crafts and camp stuff, right? But the kids would get a lunch or something like that, and all the rest of it as a part of it. It was very cool and taught me a ton of stuff that I was already interested in, but about different viewpoints and how, particularly, the kids, some of the older kids that we were working with were adopting worldviews and lessons and things like that, and using or doing so in a way that still celebrated a culture that their families were trying to keep alive with them. And it's just the same. If you find, your grandparents or something kind of drone on and on about their childhood, or if I'm thinking more Thanksgiving, right? Like I think it's Canadian Thanksgiving today, so happy Canadian Thanksgiving to any of my Canadian friends. But when it's Christmas or Thanksgiving or any of those kinds of holidays, and older folks will talk about how this is what we used to do, or with me having a father who is from the UK instead of growing up here in America, he'd share stuff about what he did, and my mom particularly, tries to ensure that some of the things that he finds special and were important to him as a kid, we've adopted into our stuff. And likewise, I've talked many times about how I have an aunt who had Scandinavian background, and my grandparents were from Florida and Georgia, respectively, on my mom's side. So I had a real melting pot of cultures just within my own family, and we tried to celebrate all of those through foods and traditions and all that kind of stuff. Where we could, I'm not going to take all that coal. It's just too much effort. We'll get the stuff that's just right here, and any that's directly above it, but it'll be here forever. And we've got a lot of coal too. So yeah, the cynical part of me goes, all right, so yeah, congrats, we got a holiday, and I think back to the kids that I knew at the time. I'm like, man, for a long time, I don't have any contact. I don't even didn't even maintain any of it after that trip. But I've often thought, like I hope, and I don't know anything about how South Dakota's gaming stuff has developed. I have a view that's shaped by Colorado, so that's what I've seen. Maybe that's not too typical for the rest of the country, but I know things like Mega Millions and Powerball weren't a deal, but now the majority of states in the country are all on board with those kind of things, and I don't think that's a trend that's going away anytime soon. So that's the part I'm like, what are we doing other than, hey, you get a holiday, but we're going to keep loading our pockets, and if that hurts you guys, um, enjoy your holiday kind of stuff. So I hope there's meaning. I hope if you're enjoying a day off school, I hope that there's some chance to talk about um, what it really means to be Native American, and what the local historical tribes and communities are in your area, because they're not just all Native Americans, and I don't care whether it's indigenous people or anything else. It's what what did they grow up amongst, and what were their traditions, or what are the traditions in the local area. Try to be a little more proactive than just, yep, it's a holiday and we got it off, and no more Columbus, bad. Because we still unfortunately have a long way to go as people to really um, celebrate everyone equally, and promote that. So where are we at time wise? I rambled long enough on all that stuff. We are at 52 minutes. It's pretty good. We prepped up our top. I don't know that we have time to shave the full layer here, and we've got torches and all that, so I think we're pretty well set. So let's I don't know. Should we pick everything up? We're not gonna fill shulkers on shulkers with stuff. Let's leave these. Let's grab these. Um, and let's at least get back to. See, we can go so much faster now. Until we don't. But for a moment at least, we can go faster. This is where we clip those walls a little bit. That gets slow again. So we'll come back. We'll be at base. We'll maybe unload the various items, but not process coal and ore and all those kind of things. And be set to go to the end in the next episode and take some stacks of obsidian out of there. Then when we come back, and again, I don't know how much of any of that time is going to balance out, because we have no beacon yet. We kind of want to get enough, but just enough obsidian and not do extra mining there. So we may make a few trips and kind of, load up a few stacks, take some pillars, and then come back, put them in, see how we're shaping up as we go. Let's do that. Let's do this. And I don't know. I still may come back for one more. We'll see by the time it's done. I'm done loading this episode, how we want to handle that. We'll also see if we have any room for storing more of the stone. Yeah. Wow, hiccups in the midst of all that. Again, at some point, we're going to be using up all this stone too. So I'm not super worried about it. Diorite, granite, andesite, gravel, tough, deep slate, dirt, look at the box. Dirt and gravel. Don't see any there. It's like the worst way to do this. How many andesites am I going to miss? Just not even see. There we go. That, and that. Ooh. I hadn't really, finally. Leave me alone. Oh, now we got another one. Come on. Deep slates. Don't want to waste time with you. Our episode is already too long. Alright. How's this stuff? We have granite. No, it was dirt. Wow, that was poor. There. And, hey, I remembered. Now. All stones, all the time. Full. It's tough to run with all that stone in your pockets. And there's the andesite. Oh, come on, really? I should be able to switch that out eventually. Alright, a couple of andesites and a stone. That's it, right? Oh yeah, this is what we just, upstairs. We could take those upstairs. I'll put this there. We'll set up that. Those can go. I know. We could have been on time. I could have just stopped at 52 minutes there in the it's like, oh, now I can just put all the rest of these away too. Oh, and I would have had room. Oh, maybe I already grabbed them. Okay, he's not there yet. Alright. Want that. I think we needed a copper, right? I don't think we need coal. I know you're coming for me. Very distracting, too. Iron ore. I think we already have that. Stop. Alright. Want the rest of those. Those go upstairs. Everything else is good. See ya, Tories, I think. Tory that came down? Grays. One or the other. Here in our little spot. So we got the 2 diamonds. We already had one of those. And this is the first of our coppers. So we need deep slate gold, another emerald, just to fill in. And I guess we need the deep slate of the emerald too. Got the coals, got the iron. So deep slate gold and copper. Both of the emeralds. And that's about it, right? I don't know. Anything else catches our eye, we'll grab it definitely. And we are going to want enough of that. All right. Now, you keep 1. You go away. You go away. Oh, what am I going to do with this? I don't want it. There. All right. That does it. We'll go ahead and save. We're already 101, about the same as the last one. So not too terrible. Thank you all so much for hanging out and let me ramble. Again, very happy Indigenous Peoples Day to you, or a very happy Thanksgiving to my Canadian friends. Hope you all enjoy. If you grew up on it like I did and still want to, enjoy your Columbus Day as well. Gone but not forgotten. And remember, whichever of the ankles on that you want to take, when you look at history, look to understand it and remember that those are real people. It's not just something out of the past. And what are we doing in our own life as a country and as individuals to celebrate all the different types of people out there, beyond just, hey, it's their day, there we go. How can we make life better for people? Lend them a hand, help them out if we can. So take care, and we will see you back here for the next one. Bye now.